the colors. Summer
Hello, welcome back to Bound and Unraveled. My name is Christina, and for this week's video, we're going to really soak up all of the summer energy that we have left this year and do a week of beach reads. The first book that we're going to read is One Golden Summer by Carley Fortune. Her book, Every Summer After, was my first book that I read by her, and I absolutely loved it. I started it one work night at like 9 p.m. and I stayed up until like 2 a.m. because I couldn't put it down. But then unfortunately, all of her books that I read since then have been letdowns. I'm hoping that this one will turn the tide again positively. I've heard good reviews from friends, and so we're going to go into this with open mind and a little hope in our hearts. I have this from Libby, and the blurb says, "Good things happen at the lake. Alice spent just one summer there at a cottage with Nan when she was 17. It's where she took that photo, the one of 3 grinning teenagers in a yellow speedboat, the image that changed her life. Charlie Florick was 19 when Alice took his photo from afar. Now he's all grown up, a shameless flirt who manages to make Nan laugh, and Alice longed to be 17 again. Sun-slanted days and warm nights out on the lake with Charlie are a balm for Alice's soul. But when she looks up and sees his piercing green gaze directly on her, she begins to worry for her heart. Because Alice sees people. That's why she is so good at what she does. But she's never met someone who looks and sees her right back." We're going to get ready and go out, I think, to St. Petersburg and bring this with us. I'll see you there. Now we can set them free.
Hi, hello.
Where are we, Mommy?
Here we are in the north beach of Port Salto, and this is in Florida. And we have a beautiful day, summer day. So
Lots of sun.
Lots of sun. Sunscreen,
And sunscreen,
and sunglasses.
and Kindles.
And Kindles.
So it's a great day.
It's a great day.
Life is a winding road, no telling where it goes. Driving through days and nights, won't stop for traffic lights. And I really wanna know if I will ever figure out where the road goes. Even if I'm falling down, I will keep on searching for my highs.
Hello! We have finished One Golden Summer, and I am obsessed. Before I go into more details, I want to backtrack for a second. I didn't realize until I was at about the 60% mark in One Golden Summer that this is the direct sequel to that previous book. That was so silly of me, and now that I've finished it, I really want to reread Every Summer After and One Golden Summer back to back with that knowledge. That's a PSA for anyone else out there who's silly or who doesn't really look at things online before starting a book. There you go. That's not a spoiler. I think you're supposed to know that. Such a joy to say that reading One Golden Summer was the closest reading experience I've had to reading Every Summer After, in the sense that I picked it up with kind of middling expectations. And at the beginning, I wasn't particularly drawn to either of the 2 central characters, but I came to love both of them so much, and I became so invested in their relationship. This is the highest compliment. This book made me yearn for summer in the midst of August in Florida. Tell me if that's not a sign of excellent writing. And their relationship made sense. When I finished the book, the story and the characters felt more real to me than reality itself. I hope you know what I mean, like that feeling when you finish a great book and reality feels more fictional than fiction itself, and you're just in like this lovely daze. The book made me emotional at times. It made me laugh. I think I showed you, but it was very cringy. In order to get the plot started, our main character had to do some very, very embarrassing things. And multiple times I laughed out loud. I just had such a great time. If you're looking for a summer read that will just give you that feeling of joy that I at least am always looking for a beach read, read Every Summer After and then One Golden Summer. And definitely, if you're going to read Every Summer After, read that one first because there's a pretty important spoiler for it in One Golden Summer. And the next book we're going to read is Sunburn by Chloe Michelle Howarth. So let's find out a little bit more and see what the blurb says. It says, it's the early 1990s in the small town of Crossmoor, Ireland, and Lucy knows what she's expected to do. Fall in love with the son of the farmer next door, marry him, pray for children, and never, under any circumstances, reveal the truth. That she doesn't think marriage or motherhood or staying in Crossmoor is for her. That the reason she knows this is because of her close friend, Susanna. For years, Lucy buries her obsession until one summer, right before graduation, when her friendship with Susanna escalates. Now, Lucy will do anything to keep their secret safe. Their relationship is both the best and worst thing that's ever happened to her. Lucy loves Susanna, but every day, it feels like Crossmoor, Lucy's mother, and their social mores are closing in. And when Susanna decides she no longer wants to hide, Lucy must make a devastating choice. So I think that's quite a change of vibe, which is what I'm looking for, so that I can keep these books distinct in my brain. Let's read the first lines. Chapter 1, June 1989. Now is the time between birth and slaughter. Another summer has arrived. Let's get reading.
All your friends are saying you're doing fine, but how about last night when you cried your eyes out? I bet they're not aware you came by, and now my mind's a mess. It keeps telling me there's no one like you. Oh, how will I get through all these nights when I'm alone? I keep scrolling through my phone now. I wish there was a pill to get over someone you love, but doesn't have no more, doesn't have no more.
Hi, I finished Sunburn and I have quite a few discombobulated thoughts. First off, beautifully written and I loved it. I think I could fill a whole notebook with just the lines that I underlined from that book. At times, lyrical, matter of fact, dramatic, romantic, obsessive, and I think it captures so well the range of emotions that teenagers have access to. And it was also very heart-wrenching to see this girl have to navigate all these really strong feelings and at the same time accepting that her parents and friends who make up kind of the whole universe of her world probably won't accept her if they know the truth of that love. And I really ate it up. I found it very compelling, propulsive. I will say 5 stars until about the 60% mark when Lucy just starts going down these thought spirals, which are infuriating. I think that's the point, but really made me want to shake her. I still really enjoyed it. I'll give it 4 stars. And I think that the whole thought spirals that she gets into makes sense. And the story is also kind of the portrait of this young woman who has never had the space or the motivation and encouragement to foster her own sense of self and know what she wants and to kind of chart her own path. And so it makes sense that she's now on this cliff of uncertainty of what the rest of her life will look like. And she doesn't really know how to respond to that. Because of how she was written leading up to that point, I could still have empathy for her even when I really wanted to just like grab her by the shoulders and shake her and be like, girl, snap out of it. Like, overall, I would really recommend, especially if you want to have one of those like slow, sticky summer afternoons where you read something that gives you all the strong feelings sometimes when you're struggling to feel. Like, for me at least, summer is one of those seasons where sometimes I just struggle to access real emotion because of the never endingness of it all. Anywho, that was Sunburn. And then our next book is going to be The Wedding People by Allison Espach. Espach? I'm sorry, I don't know how to say her last name. I should look that up. It's apparently Allison Espach. So none of the options that I considered. And the blurb says, "It's a beautiful day in Newport, Rhode Island, when Phoebe Stone arrives at the Grand Cornwall Inn, wearing a green dress and gold heels, not a bag in sight, alone. She's immediately mistaken by everyone in the lobby for one of the wedding people, but she's actually the only guest at the Cornwall who isn't here for the big event. Phoebe is here because she's dreamed of coming for years. She hoped to shuck oysters and take sunset sails with her husband, only now she's here without him, at rock bottom, and determined to have one last decadent splurge on herself. Meanwhile, the bride has accounted for every detail and every possible disaster the weekend might yield except for, well, Phoebe. And Phoebe's plan, which makes it that much more surprising when the two women can't stop confiding in each other. It is currently raining. I'm not sure when I'll check in with you, but I'll see you when I see you, and with more thoughts on The Wedding People.
Wish that I could stay in this moment forever, so I can hold you in my arms. I will carry you on my shoulders as long as I'm able. Scare the monsters under your bed, deepen the biting.
Hi! It has been several days since I last talked to you guys. I basically got distracted with other reading adventures. I'm listening to the audiobook for Gideon the Ninth, if you know, you know. I just finished The Wedding People, so I wanted to check in with you guys and say that it took me a while to get into this book, hence also the several days. I was not really feeling it until about the 40% mark. It suddenly became really captivating. I found the main character, Phoebe, really endearing once she got over like the initial hump and started really just being quite endearingly straightforward and honest. I thought that was really refreshing to read. And also the way that one of the other central characters, Lila, is portrayed, I appreciated because I felt like Phoebe kind of plays in some ways the reader as well, where she's getting to know Lila and she's seeing her in all of her glory and in all of her flaws, and at times cares for her and feels tender towards her, and at other times is just really enervated and annoyed by her. And just the whole cast of characters, I came to become really invested in them, and I found this book so funny. Like, I really, again, from not vibing with it at all to then was cackling on the couch and just could not stop laughing. And even now, when I think back to some of the lines, it just really is going to be one of those books that always makes me chuckle. I would recommend. I will say the way that it treats depression is obviously quite simplistic. So, like, for example, if you've read The Midnight Library and you were completely exasperated by that approach that Matt Haig takes in that book of trying to lay bare some reasons why you might want to continue living when you're in the midst of a very, very severe depression, you might not enjoy this book because it kind of has a similarly simplistic bent to it. But I personally enjoyed it. I thought it was really sweet. And again, I appreciated the sense of humor and the, in some ways, unflinching way that it stares into the shame that a lot of us carry around towards sadness, towards sex, towards envy, towards like lots of different things. I'll give it 4 stars because of the ending, because of the way that the last 30%. Just was amazing. It started out a low 3 stars and it reached 5 stars by the end, so 4 stars it is. And with that, I'm going to end the video here. I have quite a few remaining beach read books on my TBR that I was thinking of maybe reading, but I need to end it here for my own personal sanity to give myself time to edit. And with that, thank you for spending this summer week with me and for coming along to spend some time by the water. I hope that wherever you are, you can also disconnect and have some nice mood reading. So thank you for spending this time with me, and I will catch you very soon in the next video.